All right, so let's get started. It's going to take a while for, I feel like, some people to figure out how to join the event. It always happens.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions at any time, hit ask a question down there.
Yeah, right there. That red button that says ask a question, and you can submit a text question, which is easy. You can also write a statement in there if you feel strongly about something. Or you can send in a video question. Good, I'm seeing more people join. Wow, there's already a question. You guys are so eager.
Great, yay.
Okay, so today we are talking about Italy.
Italia.
Actually, the official name is La Repubblica Italiana. I learned this in my research, and I discovered that it's in Europe.
Good. Here we get the history first. And then
Italy is in Europe.
It's in Europe.
Yeah.
Shaped like a boot.
It is shaped like a boot.
Shaped like a boot.
Southern Europe.
Stiletto.
Shaped like a boot, and it's a large peninsula. And it also includes the islands of Sicily and Sardinia, which are actually the two largest islands in the Mediterranean Ocean, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that, actually. I should have known that.
And religious-wise, there's no national religion in Italy, although 90% of Italians identify as Roman Catholic.
Right. Tons of churches.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So many churches.
Vatican City,
right.
all of that. And I actually found out, in regards to Vatican City, that Vatican City and San Marino are actually independent states. They're enclaves, which I looked up what that meant. It's really awesome. So, you know, in geometry you have A, which is a circle, and then within A you have B, which is its own individual space.
Right.
So B would be Vatican City, and A would be Italy. An enclave is something you have to access through another independent state.
Okay, so that's why Vatican's separate, right?
Yeah, it's its own little enclave.
Okay,
cool. And the population of Italy is about 60.5 million people. And they had a unitary parliamentary republic with an upper and a lower house.
Woo! Sorry.
Knocked off our headsets.
Knocked off the headsets.
The president's name is Giorgio Napolitano, and the prime minister is Silvio Berlusconi. I don't know that much about Italian politics.
I think the prime minister is not popular at the moment. Something about hookers, or you know, I just remember even the people I stayed with in Tuscany were just constantly upset, reading the paper, shaking their heads. What is our leader doing? So
interesting.
We're not talking too much about the politics of Italy today, but.
Cool. Well, I'm just going to take a quick note to say that I see we have some spectators, which means you're just watching the event. You can't actually text any questions or join the chat. So you'll see a red button that says Join Event on the bottom of the screen. I think it would be like right here. If you click that, it'll prompt you to check your camera and all those things. You can skip that if you want and join the event, so you can actually submit questions and talk to us.
Join!
Yes. But anyway, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, it's divided into 20 different regions, regioni, and the capital is, of course, Rome.
Rome.
Yes, so much baggage with that city.
Rome, so much. I mean, that is the birthplace of civilization.
Yeah, that's pretty much the beginning of modern Western civilization. There's a lot to say about Rome. And so I'm going to say a little bit about the research that I did, because I kind of forgot a lot of this. I studied Rome in like 7th grade.
Always good to refresh.
Yeah,
and
then ask Alex to talk about it, because she's actually been to Rome and traveled around Italy. She's my Italy expert. So Rome, well, basically, let's just go back far in time. About 200,000 years ago was back in the
so far.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
In the Paleolithic period is actually when the first humans arrived in the region that is now Italy. And in the 7th and 8th centuries, Greek colonies were established in around Sicily, and in the 8th century, a small agricultural community that was called Ancient Rome began, and little did they know how grand they would become. Over time, it grew into this colossal empire, eventually merged with Greek society, and they stayed in power for centuries, and their decline happened around 4th century AD. So that's a huge period of time with a lot of philosophy, politics, and basically art, almost all of the foundations of Western civilization that we know. Most of them in some way can be traced back to that period and that place. So Rome is an incredible location. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what it's like being in Rome, if it's all it's cracked up to be, like what you saw.
Yeah, okay, so Rome was not the first place I went when I got to Italy, but since it is the first place on our sort of list of Italian cities, we'll talk about the ancient city. Well, they say you can't do Rome in a day, but I only had 2 days there, so I figured out how, and it was completely exhausting, but worth it. You know, obviously you want to see these things that are as old as, you know, recorded, even older than our recorded histories here. So, you know, first day I do Colosseum, the Forum, Houses of Parliament, and it's absolutely massive. Actually, the Colosseum surprised me because I imagined it would be, you know, what you see in Gladiator.
Right.
And the center actually had these sort of lifted platforms, and it was...
What were the platforms for?
I think they were just because they were trying to protect a lot of it. So they put scaffolding up, and you can't exactly walk all over it. But being in there, you kind of get the sense of what it was like.
Right.
And, you know, but it was honestly, it was so hot, and it was great to get through it, but... and
it's also pretty touristy.
It was super touristy.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, I was just so exhausted, and when you're in Rome, you just feel like you have to do these things.
Of course.
So, of course, do them, and do go to Rome if you're in Italy.
Yeah.
And I was by myself, which made it easier because I kind of just went at my own pace.
Yeah,
and I had an
nice.
iPod and was just like, you know, sometimes it's fun on tours to sort of sneak into groups if you can and like listen for a few minutes to their insider.
Right. But well, while we're on the topic of, I guess, ancient times, one thing we decided we have to bring up was Pompeii. I'm sure most of you have at least heard the word Pompeii or the name or know about it. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about Pompeii and like what you experienced with that.
Yeah, okay, so Pompeii we visited one day while we were down in Naples. We took a train there. Pompeii also, you know, it's touristy, but it's just so wild when you're there to feel this, all the years that have gone through it and all the history. And, you know, it's this town that was destroyed by a volcanic eruption. And there were actually casts, like molds of people who were the volcanic, the lava basically preserved their bodies. So we saw these figures that were like, basically their last moments of life.
I thought, though, that it was not that their bodies were preserved, but that the shape of their body was
preserved. Like the negative.
Filled it. Yeah, the negative.
It was like the
which
negative.
Which is even more eerie, almost.
It was very eerie.
Yeah.
I mean, Pompeii was creepy. It had a weird feeling to it, but...
I think Pompeii, for me, I learned about it when I was a lot younger, so it's definitely sort of this iconic, cool image of Italy, which it's up there with, I guess, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Right.
Which we also definitely have to talk about. You said you had a fun story about that.
Yeah.
And if all of you... You all know what the Leaning Tower of Pisa is.
We all know this icon, Leaning Tower, is. Well, so the first night I fly into Italy from London, my friend and I, we had no euros on us at this point. This was stupid on our behalf. I don't recommend going to a country without even the slightest. We had no phrases down at this point. We were just completely stupid. And we got in late at night. We didn't even know where our hostel was. We were just exhausted. And so we're walking around. No one speaks English to us. Like, oh my gosh, it was bad. We felt so stupid. But all this walking, we're about to give up, and we see kind of a herd of people and maybe some semblance of help over there. And so we're kind of walking, and we look up, and we just say, like, oh, wait, you know, there's Pisa. Basically, like, there's the tower. So that gave us a very nice orientation. Like, okay,